Today is, I forgot that other music was playing at me. Today is Thursday, April 15th, and this is the fourth period class recording, and this video does not want to pause. Please stop. Thank you. So I'm on the Wednesday page because this is where the information for page 12 is. So if you're looking for the notes for page 12, you need to be on the Wednesday page because this is what you were supposed to do yesterday. We have the notes for page 12. File is linked there. So if you're watching the video, stop watching the video, open the file, copy the file. I'm actually going to it's on the Thursday page. So then we have next, everybody needs to log into GradeCam. If you have not already submitted page 13, go ahead and log in. So this assignment is due today. We are going to go over this assignment today. So we have the links to the Google Drive folder and the YouTube playlist to go back and find the files and videos from what we reviewed in class. And there's a link to GradeCam. There's a link to the announcements helping you figure out how to navigate GradeCam. And this was the paper or the file for students that are working from home. The Thursday Ed puzzle is to introduce square root graphs. This is not supposed to be completed in class as homework outside of class. We do not watch videos that have sound in class. So today, if you have your positive thoughts and affirmations paper and you would like to turn it in for it to be scanned and put in the hallway to motivate your classmates, we can turn that in. Late work available for Quizlet and Delta Math. This doesn't really apply to any of you guys in here because everybody was here Tuesday and took their pop quiz. The earn back points is due Monday. And we already talked about page 13. We're going to do the live quizzes at the end of class if there's time. First period didn't finish, and that's not going to be it's not going to be an assignment grade. It's going to be a completion grade. So however far we get is how far we get after we go over these notes. Oh, looky there. I did put the link to page 12 where it was supposed to be. So the file for page 12 is also here. I don't know why it's not working. Is that link not working? Okay, well, I'll fix it. And then tomorrow we're going to focus on the graphs. So I'm going to pause this and fix that link, and I'll put the page up on the board for what we need to be looking at. So we should have had 1 through 4, because we went over some of this in class last week. I'm going to leave it right there for you guys to copy. 5 through 10, and we'll talk through those examples. I'm going to fix the file link in Canvas. All right, I fixed the link. File is here. The video from Wednesday did not have any sound, so there's that. Now let's go through and talk about. All right, so first thing I want to talk about is on number 3, I made a silly mistake. Number 3 is not 8 root 2, it is 11 root 2, because 2 plus 9 is 11, not 8. Because we have negative 2 and positive 4 gives me 2 root 2. 2 root 2 plus 9 root 2 is 11. Question? Remind me in a little bit. So looking at number 4, I see I have 2 is fully simplified. I can't simplify square root of 2 any further. 18 has a perfect square factor of 9. It's 9 times 2. 27 has a perfect square factor of 9 as well. 9 times 3. So I simplify that. Square root of 9 is 3. That's where that came from. Square root of 9 is 3. That's where that came from. Multiply our coefficients out front. I can only combine like radicals. I cannot do anything with 8 root 2 minus 9 root 3. That's as far as we can go. Now, if we were multiplying, I could multiply the numbers on the outside and the numbers on the inside. Or if we were dividing, we could do that. And saying that out loud made me remember that we need to review rationalizing, because that's important. So everybody, turn to page 11. And on your boards, on your whiteboard, show me how you think we should simplify the square root of 7 over I'm trying to decide a good number. 5. On your mini whiteboard, show me how you think that should be rationalized. And I'm going to go through and do 16 through 20 again so we can see what that looks like. If I can find the copy of my notes. So if you have not already written the square root of 7 over 5 on your board, you at least need to have that written down because I'm about to move this over. Okay, so anytime we have a square root in our denominator, it's considered irrational. I cannot have an irrational number in my denominator because a fraction is defined as the ratio of two rational numbers. I cannot have an irrational number in my fraction. So this is the square root of 2 over the square root of 3. I cannot have the square root of 3 in my denominator. So to get rid of it, I need to multiply by an equivalent fraction to change the value. Or let me clarify that. I need to multiply by 1 to create an equivalent fraction. And the way that we're going to cancel out or simplify this square root of 3 is to multiply by the square root of 3 over the square root of 3. Because that's going to make a perfect square in my denominator. And now I can take the square root of it. So this is going to be the square root of 6 over the square root of 9, which is 3. Same thing here, multiply. Whatever this denominator is, that's what we're multiplying by because that's what we're trying to get rid of. So this becomes square root of 10. A root times itself is the radicand, the number under the root. And I cannot divide the square root of 10 by 2. This does not equal the square root of 5. It does not. We cannot simplify numbers under a root and not under a root. They either both have to be underneath or they both have to be outside for me to simplify. So for here I have times the square root of 8 over the square root of 8. So I get the square root of 24 over 8. Is this fully simplified? Yes or no? No. What's the perfect square factor of 24? 4 times 6. Very good, Tony. So when I simplify this, the square root of 4 is 2. So I get 24 is 2 root 6. And this is still over 8. So now I need to simplify because this is not fully simplified because I have 2 on the outside, 8 on the outside. So this is equal to the square root of 6 over 4. Do we have questions on those first three examples? All right, so when we have a binomial, so now we have two terms separated by a plus or minus. I have to multiply by the conjugate. So recall, a conjugate is a term or a binomial that has the same terms but opposite signs. So if I have A plus B, the conjugate is A minus B. If I started with minus, then it's going to change to plus. So what is the conjugate of 2 plus the square root of 3? 2 minus the square root of 3. Now, not 2, 3. Now we should notice, if I have a binomial times a binomial, what do I have to do? If this is 6 times 2 minus the square root of 3 over 2 plus the square root of 3 times 2 minus the square root of 3, what do we have to do with that denominator? Who remembers what that's called? Think back to quadratics. Distribute, kind of, sort of, what's the more fancy phrase? What two methods can we use? FOIL or box. So we have to either box or FOIL this. So first thing, I'm going to simplify my numerator. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times the negative square root of 3 is just 6 root 3. I'm going to do FOIL. So first, 2 times 2 is 4. Outer, 2 times negative root 3 is negative 2 root 3. Inner, that's going to give me plus 2 root 3. And last, minus the square root of 3 times the square root of 3. So now, what do we notice about the middle? What's happening to these middle two terms? What is the value of something minus itself? 0. So they're going to cancel each other out. So I'm just going to get, this is going to equal 12 minus 6 root 3 over 4 minus 3, because a root times itself is the radicand. So I get 12 minus 6 root 3, because 4 minus 3 is 1. Do I have to write the 1 in the denominator? No, that is my final answer. So then here, this conjugate is going to be 5 plus the square root of 2. So my numerator, I'm going to get negative 15 minus 3 root 2. And then if we think about multiplying conjugates, if I have A plus B times A minus B, this product is going to be A squared minus B squared, because the middle is going to cancel out. 5 squared is 25. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. Final answer, negative 15 minus 3 root 2 over 23. So actually erase that one that I had written, do that one. Do example 20, see if you can figure it out. On your board, do example 20. You can't write on your board if it's under your Chromebook. Example 20. We're on page 11. Last example. Let me zoom this in a little more so you can see it. Is that a little better? So the most important thing here is that we realize that we have the conjugate. So this was a minus, Dominic. This was a minus, so this is a plus. That's how we get the middle one to pin slash, because you see here we have opposite, so the pin slash. 2 minutes. It's okay if you don't finish. I just want to see how far we can get. Very good. Very good. Yes, very good. This one is messy. Yes, very good. Check your denominator. Should I have plus or minus on the bottom? Is it? What we have? We have a squared minus b squared. Because if I have positive b times negative b, that's going to be a negative, right? If I have opposite signs when we multiply. Let me see your board again. You didn't multiply by the conjugate. So notice here I have 5 minus the square root of 2. So I multiply by 5 plus the square root of 2. So you have to multiply by opposite signs. Yes, good job. Kyle, what you got? I already checked yours. Did you already finish page 13? Let's see if we can figure those out. So once I check your answer, you should have a lot more. Once I check your answer, see if you can figure out the rest of page 13. About 30 more seconds. I want to see what you've got so far. Try and get some computation on there. I know we at least know how to multiply. You should at least be able to get the numerator. Yes, that's what you multiply by. So erase that second part and multiply again. Yes, good job, Joe. So this one is trickier because I have binomials on the top and bottom. So I have to FOIL twice. All right, everybody, unless I already checked your answer boards up, let me see what we got so far. Okay. Where's the binomial? Savannah, yours looks like from here. Taylor, hold up a little higher. I can't see past your phone. Yep, that numerator is right so far. All right, so number 20. Let's move this out of the way. So here, my denominator is the problem. So don't get thrown off by the fact that my numerator is now a binomial as well. I can have a square root in the numerator. That's fine. I cannot have a square root in the denominator. So we're going to multiply by the conjugate, 3 minus the square root of 2. And we're going to FOIL. First times first is 12. Outer is negative 4 root 2. Inner is negative 3 root 3. Last is root 6. Over the first squared, 9 minus 2, which gives me 12 minus 4 root 2 minus 3 root 3 plus root 6 over 7. Because I cannot combine root 2, root 3, or root 6. They're unlike radicals. They cannot be added or subtracted together. Yes? So I got this negative 2 because I did the square root of 2 times the negative square root of 2. So that's the negative root of 4, which is negative 2. Does that make sense? Any other questions on rationalizing the denominator? That's not something you have to do a whole lot, but we do need to understand when to do it, why to do it, and how to do it. Yes, quickly. Okay, let's jump back and down to page 13. These were the two we went over in class in first period. So for number 11, we see I have 12 and 8 under my square roots. Both of those have a perfect square factor of 4. So when I simplify, I get negative 3 times the square root of 4 times 3 minus the square root of 4 times 2 minus 3 root 2. Simplify my operations or my radicals. The square root of 4 is 2. And then simplify my coefficients. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Negative 2 minus 3, because here I have like radical square root of 2. So I can subtract those to get negative 5 root 2 to make my final answer C. Does everybody understand how I simplified and combined those square roots? So then for number 12, I have 3, which I can't simplify, 20, which has a perfect square factor of 4, and 27, which has a perfect square factor of 9. When I simplify those, I get negative 3 root 3 minus 2 root 5 minus 3 times 3 root 3. So this might look a little confusing because we got 3 3's. One of them was already there. This one that we took out is the square root of 9, and this one has to stay. Does that make sense? All right. So try and do 13 on your board. Don't hold it up until I tell you, though. I don't have the answer yet. Can't find my regular pen. Here it is. Here you go, Lonnie. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do 13 and 14 on the board. I want you guys to do them on your board. My whiteboard is frozen, so you can't see what I'm doing. So while I'm working, you should be working. Oh, 13 is easy. Yeah. What's the answer to number 13? D. That one is easy. There are no roots to simplify. 3 minus 3 is 0. That's it. 14. Who can tell me the perfect square factors of 20? 4 and 5. Who can tell me the perfect square factors of 18? Or factor, one factor. 9 times 2. That's your first couple of steps. See if we can figure out the rest. 2 plus 3.5, 10, 6. Very good. Very good. Yes. Everybody that had their board up is right. So we're going to have a live game. So once you finish number 14, you can try 15 and 16 right now on your own. This grade cam assignment is not due until midnight tonight, or maybe 11. Yes, Lonnie. Yes, true. So be aware of the time that that's actually due. Once we finish 13 and 14, log in to quizzes. And we're gonna play a live game. Not quite. What did we say? Oh, I'm not checking 15. 15 and 16 are your homework. I'm not checking those two. I was so confused for a second, Andre. Is that 14? Try again. Look closer. Try before you erase, go back and see if you can find your mistake. All right. So before we move on, number 14 was C. Number 14 was C. So everybody on your paper right now, make sure that we have the answers for 11 through 14. Number 11 was C. Number 12 was D. Number 13 was also D. And number 14 was C. Once we have that written down, you can pack up the rest of your stuff except for your whiteboard and your Chromebook and go to quizzes. I'm going to freeze the board there. Well, you don't really need the board for anything. And that's math 1. We don't need that. Question? Eric? No. Okay. So the only thing that you have the option to do that we did not talk about in class is if you are just really excited about graphing radical and rational equations, you can take a look through our next activity in Desmos, which we will do tomorrow. There is a paper copy of CUDA that goes with this. So part 1, we will have to do together. So if you go in, let's just go look at it. So if you go in to Desmos today, so I've already got a few of y'all that at least went and peeked at it. So if you go in, you can't do part 1 without the paper copy that you'll get tomorrow. So then we need to open the template. That's what we're going to use. That's the link that you will save and submit. That's half the assignment grade for this activity. And then we've got these different pages where we'll go through and do all of these together in class tomorrow. And whatever we don't finish will be homework over the weekend, and we'll wrap it up Monday with a little mini review. I'm not going to call it a quiz. So right now, everybody needs to be in quizzes. Click start. When you click start, it's not going to start the quizzes. It's going to add you. I click start to start the actual quizzes. There's no code. It's been assigned to you. It's the same place your assignments always are. Has your class period, today's date. Question? Are you in? Get in first. So that when I click start, you're not holding us up. Guys, I need to do this quickly. It should not take us this long to get in here. 2 minutes. I'm starting without you. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video.